morning, everyone. Thank you for joining all of us today, where I have some very exciting news to share with the people of Bermuda. We found out this week that Bermuda has been chosen to host not one, not two, but 3 International Triathlon Union World Series events in April 2018, 2019, and 2020. This is a first for Bermuda and a huge win for all of us. These World Series events bring with them 1,200 competitors for each event, which includes 150 elite athletes, not to mention their friends, family members, and supporters. You will recall the fanfare around the arrival of the Louis Vuitton America's World Cup Series in October 2015. And I think it caught many of us off guard just how much of a buzz was generated. I don't think we fully realized until it got here just what to expect, and I would say it far surpassed people's expectations. I think we felt the excitement that was in the air. It impacted our businesses, our economy, our tourism, and afforded opportunities to entrepreneurs testing their wings before the big event in 2017, and it was, of course, exhilarating to watch that in our backyard. Picture that for 3 consecutive years, and that is what we have just won, except in the world of triathlons instead of sailing this time. These week-long World Series triathlon events will be broadcast around the globe, including the United States, where NBC Sports is the broadcast partner. This will ensure coverage of Bermuda on televisions around the world. The proposed courses for the triathlon will highlight Bermuda's natural beauty on both land and sea. From a tourism perspective, April is a month where we have room for growth. So these events will offer a huge boost for the island in that month and will result in significant visitor spending on island. Put simply, this is the biggest event Bermuda has landed since the America's Cup. This will take Bermuda to the next level of sports tourism. It's a wonderful way to follow in the wake of the America's Cup next year. But what makes the icing on the cake is that we'll be able to watch our very own Flora Duffy, the ITU World Triathlon Champion, compete here in her homeland. I look forward, and as I'm sure all of you, in cheering her every step of the way. Flora is a wonderful ambassador, as we saw in Madrid, for telling Bermuda's story as a perfect destination for athletes and adventure travelers. Getting to this point has been a cross-ministry partnership between the Ministries of Tourism, Transport and Municipalities, Economic Development, and Social Development and Sports, who all assisted in preparing Bermuda's bids for these events. So I want to thank all of those involved for making this possible. It's taken a lot of hard work from the team, but we got here, and the view looks pretty good from where I'm standing. To Pat Philip Fairn and Philip Schmidt, Philip is on the phone, I want to say thank you. It was a pleasure working with both of you in Madrid as we submitted our final bid for the 2020 Triathlon Union World Grand Final. While we did not win the 2020 final, we learned a lot from the bidding process, and taking part in such an event has solidified Bermuda as part of the ITU family. I can also announce today that we will be bidding for the Grand Final in 2021, taking on board what we have learned from our most recent bidding experience. Bermuda's blessings of a temperate climate, seaside beauty, and iconic geographic location have certainly made us, in our view, a coveted playing field for some of the world's greatest contests. Thank you very much indeed. Pat, I think you have some words as well. Thank you.
Minister, thanks, and we'll get him back to the podium here to answer questions in a couple minutes, but we have our own hometown gal on the phone, Flora Duffy, who is going to make some comments here. And Flora, first of all, thank you so much for what you did for us in Madrid. I honestly believe but for Flora, we may not have won this bid. She is the sweetheart to the entire triathlon world, and we're just excited to have you as part of our bid team and glad to have you joining us on the phone. I think Flora from Denver, where it may be snowing a little bit, but Oh, from Boulder. I'm sure it's snowing in Boulder, but it's quite beautiful here today, Flora. So welcome to the news conference. You have a room full of media and supporters, so please, it's all over to you, Flora. And how's it going to feel to actually be back in your home country competing in front of the hometown fans?
Hi, thank you for having me on. Yes, it's going to be incredible. You know, I grew up watching the race that Bermuda hosted in the 90s, the ITU World Cup, and, you know, watching that, seeing everyone race firsthand just inspired me to, you know, to be a professional triathlete, and for it to come full circle and me to be racing on the roads of Bermuda in a couple years' time. It's just, yeah, it's really incredible. You know, I did the Front Street Mile every year as a kid, and now I'm going to be running on it as a professional, as a multiple world champion. Yeah, so I really hope Bermuda gets behind it. I'm excited to race in front of my friends and family, and yeah, I think it's just going to be an absolute blast.
Let's have Pat Phillip Farron come forward and talk a little bit about sports tourism and the things that Bermuda is working on right now to improve our position in that very important economic space for us. Pat, and congratulations on the bid, by the way.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. In just 3 years, Bermuda has transformed from an emerging sports tourism destination to a preeminent sports tourism destination. This successful bid for 3 years of World Triathlon Series events is one big part of a much bigger whole when it comes to sports and adventure tourism. Let's take 2017 as one example, which will be a huge year for the island. Easily the biggest in Bermuda's history as a sports destination. Already, we have 27 sports tourism events on the 2017 calendar, and that's just in the first 6 months alone. One of those events is, of course, the 35th America's Cup, 5 weeks of sailing activities, excitement that will solidify Bermuda's position as the sailing capital of the Atlantic. Of the $800,000 in investments that the BTA will make to support ideas of local event planners and entrepreneurs next year, at least 30 of those visitor experiences are in the sports and adventure category. And sports training is an area where we've seen an explosion of demand, particularly among high school and college athletes. We expect that demand to grow even more next year. A couple of weeks from now, we'll welcome 100 visiting swimmers who will train at the National Sports Center Aquatics facility. There's similar demand among other sports, including lacrosse, rugby, track, and golf. Without question, these advances are exceptionally important because we're attracting younger visitors to Bermuda, which is critical to the sustainability of the country's tourism industry. And we're growing business in the shoulder season, a period when we need high volumes of travelers to keep those working in the tourism industry on the job year-round. So 3 years of international triathlon events in April is consistent with the BTA's overall sports tourism strategy, and it's consistent with the objectives of the National Tourism Plan. Today, I hope the tourism community and the country in general are proud of the progress we've made in sports tourism, and more importantly, I hope they're as excited as we are to go next. I hope they're excited about where we go next as a truly world-class destination for sports and adventure travel. Thank you.
Aaron Smith, please, if you would, join us at the podium. Aaron is representing the Bermuda Triathlon Association, the other BTA, by the way, and he likes to tell me that. But they played a very important role and will play a very important role in the staging of the event. So, Aaron, thanks for being with us, and thanks for the help in Madrid also.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Bill, and thank you, everyone. Good morning. Just really to say that on behalf of the Bermuda Triathlon Association, we are absolutely thrilled to be a part of what we know will develop into the largest focus on triathlon that Bermuda's ever had an opportunity to see. What we really see this WTS, World Triathlon Series of 3 events doing is not only exposing, the world to Bermuda, but and the world by the world of ITU, International Triathlon, to Bermuda. But it will also obviously expose Bermudians more to what triathlon is and what triathlon is about. And that's something as a local national federation that we're very keen to have happen. Events like this tend to provide investment and opportunities for not just athlete development, but for coaching development, officials, and other areas that really will bolster, I think, our local product and make us even more than what Flora's been able to accomplish, hopefully, make us not just known as champions at one level, but as an entire country of champions. So we're looking forward to participating and to supporting it, and thank you very much. If I can add one more last thing, and I just thought of it. It was disconnected from this, but we are actually going to be hosting in April. We had applied for, outside of this bidding structure, Continental Cup Triathlon, which is maybe considered more like a minor league, league of triathlon. It's still elite athletes, and based on the events of the last 24 hours here, we're going to try and see if we can work a lot closer with the BTA here and the ITU to see if we can't actually make that event perhaps a bit of a precursor to what's to come in 2018 and 19. So it's the same time frame. It's April, and therefore just a great opportunity for us to try and test the waters with that event. So stay tuned.
How soon will the sporting side, information about race route, times, and all that, how soon will that, because that had to be part of your presentation, so how soon will that be out for the public to know?
Very shortly. I think we can probably get that information out today, I would expect, because it's certainly not something that's hidden. The route would start with the swimming on Front Street, coming right ashore near the ferry terminal, and the cycling, parking, if I recall, is up at City Hall, and then you have the cycling route that basically goes all the way along North Shore and loops back around. So, of course, the pieces that go with that, of course, is getting people to understand about road closures and those kinds of things, which, of course, people would have on their mind. But the BTA and the ministries have already been thinking about how we go about doing that. And I think we'll get very local, go into the neighborhoods and explain what this is all about, and really talk to individuals that can future plan for a bit of disruption while these races are going on. But overall, it should be minimal given the times that these things would be happening. So we can get that out today.
Yes, I can. Perhaps I should add to the schedule that it's a Friday and Saturday schedule. We've deliberately avoided the Sunday morning drives.
Phil, you're very instrumental in this coming. What gave you the idea to approach this in this manner?
So the idea came purely from being very close to the sport and following the sport that is close to my heart. And when the bid process was opened by the ITU, which I was notified of in the summer, then I thought this would be a great event to have on the island, following the America's Cup and building on the legacy that we have from the island there. So I approached all the stakeholders you have in the room, with initially the Bermuda Triathlon Association, then the BCA, and eventually the government, all being very enthusiastic and coming on board. And I've enjoyed great support from a number of members of the government. Minister Grant Gibbons has also been involved, and Premier Mike Dunkley have all been very supportive of this bid. So it's been a real positive experience from my side, and getting the support from all the stakeholders.
For anyone who doesn't know, Phil Schmidt was the bid committee chairman for this process, so he was instrumental in helping us win this bid.
Flora, you come back every year and compete just in the Tokyo, more so than anything else, just competing along Front Street. Now getting a chance to do island-wide, does that excite you?
Yeah, of course, it really excites me. Just to have such a big, huge event in Bermuda, and I've seen the course, and I hope I can say this, that we'll be using course True Hill. So I'm pretty excited to ride up that and never actually get to, because it's one way. So yeah, it's just really cool. For me, it's it'll be a very special moment in my career, especially in 2020. You know, it'll be one of the key races in the build to the Tokyo Olympics, and it's really, really special. I'm so thankful and grateful that Phil had this idea, and everyone in Bermuda has been so supportive. It's really special.
Now you train with some top triathletes around the world. What do you expect them to be telling you about coming to Bermuda over the next 3-year period?
Oh, I think they'll be so excited. You know, I often post photos on my Instagram account from when I'm at home in Bermuda, and of course they're always these beautiful pictures, and they're always commenting like, "Oh my gosh, like you're so lucky, Flora. You live in a little paradise." And so I think everyone is going to be so intrigued and excited to race here in Bermuda on our roads, on our beautiful water. You know, it's such a unique place, and I think given the amount of years I've raced on the world circuit, a lot of people do know about Bermuda, but don't know that much. They know it's a pretty place, but I think once they get to Bermuda and do the course and meet all the people, they're really, really going to enjoy it.
Can I, Aaron? Sure. While you're on your way, Aaron, it must be special for you, your family, and obviously the Hawleys, because at that point in time, 2 years, 3 years time, you've got the likes of Erica and Tyler, who are abroad right now in actual schools, applying their trade. For a family that can possibly be their bloom, if you will, how is that setting you up for the excitement part, family-wise?
Oh, definitely. That is an exciting element around this, and I can tell you that Tyler is thrilled to and excited to hear about what these developments are. He's, as you noted, and Erica, who are, I guess, Bermuda's top juniors currently. They're both 18. I think of Flora when she was that age. She competed in her first Commonwealth Games, and that's also next year in 2018. Yeah. So perfect timing for consideration, and to be able to have world-class events at home gives an opportunity that even Flora didn't have at that young age. So tremendous. I do like to remind people that I did compete in triathlon back in the day too, and actually did a world championship once. So you'll probably get the good thing about triathlon is it does touch all ages, and these events, although the WTS will be the focus for the next 3 years, we're going to make sure that there are what we call public way and citizens waves around them, not just for Bermudians who we want to participate, but given our proximity to the Northeast, I can guarantee you we're going to be pulling in.
Old guys can.
Even old guys are going to be able to participate. Bill was a triathlete too, so you'll see a lot of people participating. And when you get the ability to race on the course that the professionals race on, or similar type of courses, that's something that most people just love to take advantage of.